Heralds are creations who run a postal service in the world of the membrane, an important task which requires the utmost care and attention. One herald is getting ready to leave on an early morning delivery round. There is lots to prepare before departing and journeying to the recipients. Firstly, the herald must know where they are going and what potential obstacles are in the way. This world has many known routes and common destinations that the heralds are familiar with, but there are also many places which they have never ventured to before, where potential dangers could lurk. Thankfully, today is not one of those cases, as all the locations are along the known routes from this wind tunnel that the herald is preparing from. This herald knows the area well, and a few of the recipients who regularly use their service, so it should be a quieter trip this day. The wind tunnels act as portals to the herald's tower, and is the reason that their service is so popular to use. The tower is made up of many interconnected tunnels, which can take the heralds to several different parts of the world in an instant, including areas which may not be as accessible otherwise. However, they can only take you so far, so the herald is tasked with completing the journey from that point. Before a herald leaves on their rounds, they will have a full list of the letters and parcels they are delivering in the area. Most senders will wrap or encase their items in envelopes or paper, but some are posted in haste and may not be or look as secured. This isn't a problem, as heralds are well trained in keeping all deliveries in perfect condition. Most of the deliveries heralds are trusted with aren't very powerful or valuable, usually just being gifts, messages, or purchased goods. Some may take it upon themselves to personally deliver their items to the recipients if it's of great importance, but the heralds are usually the safest choice due to their well-crafted delivery system. There aren't many items on the herald's list today, however one of the parcels is considerably heavy, and all the delivery locations, despite being straightforward to travel to, are spread out, so the herald will be loaned a chariot and nimble for today's round. If it's going to be a long journey, the herald has to make sure the nimble's received a fresh coating applied to its stamp card, which it, as well as the heralds, are regularly stored in. This means they will have more available essence, which will be helpful in navigating tough terrain, especially if it involves going any kind of altitude. The nimbles were specifically crafted with the ability to hover above the ground and travel higher and faster through the sky, pulling along the herald's chariot if the terrain below becomes too dangerous to traverse, or if they need to speed up considerably. However, travelling higher or faster will drain the nimble's energy quicker, so the herald has to be careful not to overwork them and save the ability for emergencies usually. The weather is also an important factor for the herald to consider. A thick mist and fog would make many feel uneasy, but it is quite a welcome sight to the herald. As long as the mist has nothing malevolent associated to it, the herald can safely use it to replenish a small fraction of its or the nimble's energy. Heralds can cope fine in most weather, however hot sunny days might weaken them if exposed for too long with no protection. Today was a dark, rainy morning, but not much mist around, so this herald made sure they've packed their kettle and portable stove in case they needed to make any rest stops. Heralds normally have enough energy to keep progressing without stopping if the packages need a hasty delivery. They may need to replenish themselves or the nimbles if it's been a tiring journey though, which they do either by using the mist around them on occasion, or more often by having a water break. But they don't actually need to drink the water, they absorb the clouds of steam once it is boiled from the kettle. Still, even though it's not necessary, they like to fill their cups with the hot water and sip it slowly whilst resting, taking in the surroundings or perhaps reading a book. This is especially nice when none of the packages have any time sensitivity. The herald can take their time. The herald's tower, the postal service's headquarters, can be a chaotic place, so some heralds are always grateful when they get the chance to experience being out in the world. Heralds and nimbles are not entirely sentient. They do usually just follow a directive, receive and deliver. However, they were crafted by a sentient being who runs the headquarters, so can almost have glimmers of self-awareness or personality, shaped by each of their own experiences out in the world. For example, if a delivery went bad for a specific herald, this may make that one more hesitant to visit a certain area, or show more caution perhaps. But all of them will always prioritise delivering an item successfully. Heralds are very honourable creations. They are all crafted with a distinct sense of morality, which is important since they are being entrusted with delivering items on behalf of someone. Politeness is also a key principle amongst heralds, who always aim to uphold the integrity of their service. Several passerbys may approach them whilst they are recharging or travelling. When they have the time, a herald can be very accommodating and will help out the individual if they can, depending on the request. If someone is lost, heralds are very good with directions in areas where they regularly do rounds. They may even let the individual catch a ride with them if using the chariot and nimble, as long as it doesn't hinder the deliveries. Of course, you can't ask a herald for too much. They can only really help with simple tasks. The most they could do would be offering advice on complicated matters. And they can always offer you a nice cup of hot water. Whilst heralds may pick up on a lot of interesting information during their travels, or may be delivering intriguing items, they aren't really ones for gossip, so don't expect them to divulge many secrets, especially if it concerns any recipients they are visiting on their rounds. Delivering items successfully is every herald's purpose, and most recipients will leave them a tip for the good service. The heralds rarely encounter hostile recipients. The most they would usually be is indifferent and only interested in taking their delivery. Now that they are done with all their deliveries, this herald will make their way back to the nearest wind tunnel. Occasionally, if recipients know a herald is en route to them, they will prepare their own message or item to be sent back with the herald for posting, in which case they will return as fast as they can to the herald's tower in order to prepare it for delivery. This herald is looking forward to a restful night. Before they clock out at the tower, they need to report if any incidents occurred whilst out on their journey. This herald didn't have anything too eventful happen, the most being a bit of mud staining their uniform, which will be noted down for cleaning, as well as depositing any items they received on their rounds for the next delivery. Since this herald has completed a round for today, the messages and items they pick up whilst on their rounds will be entrusted to another herald, so that this one and the nimble can be recharged before their next delivery round. Usually it is the senders who have to specify if a package or message needs to be delivered quickly. However, heralds can sometimes tell how important the message is by who it is addressed to, and will know that it requires an urgent delivery. Thank you for watching a small glimpse of the herald's working day. It can be a tough job at times, but they pride themselves in connecting people far and wide across the world.